Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Average Podcast, hosted by me, your average youth, who has definitely started the second wave here in the UK. Now, today, I have two very special guests who you would have got a hint of if you heard the last Average Chat hosted by myself. Today, I'm accompanied by the creators of the Touch of Class. It's Michali Swainston-Harrison and Thomas Harris, everyone.
Hello. Woo! Yeah, let's have them clap.
So excited to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so excited. Thank you.
Okay, so let's let them know your voices. So introduce yourselves, guys.
Hello, my name is Michali Swainston-Harrison. I met Alfie at Reed College. Big up Reed College. However, I was on the musical theatre course.
Yeah,
so
he was a
bit of
fake. Yeah, I actually knew him on the. I was an actor, so just getting that in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me.
Yes, and hello, my name's Thomas Harris. I'm the other creator of A Touch of Class, and I also met Alfie at Reed College. I was on the foundation acting course. Alfie was on the sixth form acting 2 years, so he was there a year before both of us, actually, wasn't he, Macaulay? So he was like,
that's right. I'm your elder.
He was the younger elder. He was the younger elder, basically.
I'm the wise. It's like if you went up to like a mountain expecting to see like this wise wizard, and he was actually a baby.
Yeah, so basically,
and he would like a little magic.
Oh,
wand.
so you'd be going like you'd be
Alfie
walking
is the magic
through the
baby
field.
wizard.
Or he is like a little hill, but from far away he's a mountain. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh. Oh, I
so like
see.
he's the
and
elder,
you get up close, you realize,
but then he's a little
that's
hill.
A mouse.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like you know the Gruffalo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the little mouse pretends to be the Gruffalo.
Yeah, he does, and then he actually meets the Gruffalo. Mm.
Yeah. Oh no, it's in the spin-off one. It's the spin-off one where it's the Gruffalo's child, and the Gruffalo who was terrified of the mouse.
That takes me back. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like Christmas Day vibes. Like you're sitting there, and you're like, oh, look at them purple spines or spikes. Sorry.
So I've brought on Michali and Thomas today. Have a little talk about what they've created as well as some other things. Just chat, an average chat. That's why it's called this.
Awesome.
So if you guys don't know what A Touch of Class is, I'll let these guys obviously introduce it as their little baby. So if you guys want to give a little introduction to the concept, the narrative, the characters, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Well, should I begin by reading our little official blurb?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
go for it.
man.
So here goes. Everybody grab some popcorn and listen to this small paragraph.
Welcome.
A Touch of Class is a radio play series that follows the exploits of two inept and posh brothers, Jeremy and Roger. Abandoned by their father, who has left the family in disarray and hopelessness, they decide it is turn to... English. They decide it is their turn to pick up the torch and save the family name. Their solution? Run one of their father's old antique shops.
Yeah.
Boom.
So
That's it. Boom. Mic drop.
So
Mic
that's
drop.
all you need. Yeah, so on the radio play, I play Roger.
On the radio play, I played Jeremy. And as the blurb says, we're both brothers of the elite or the upper class. And
Big up.
big up the elite.
Big up the upper class.
Big up first, yeah.
And, well, I think, first of all, it started as because all three of us went to Reed College, and a big part of Reed College, and a big part of, big up Seamus Allen, our acting teacher, he's a massive...
Ooh, Seamus.
Yeah, well, Seamus, he's massively into improv, and these two characters actually came from improv, so they were just two characters in a little scene, really. They weren't supposed to be anything else, but actually we quite liked them.
Yeah.
So
and what was nice is it was a improv lesson where we had the opportunity to actually refine the characters and scenes.
Yeah.
So we originally just improvised these two characters, and as all improv is, it's a little bit of a mess because that's the joy of improv. But it was a lesson when we were able to go, all right, now have 5 minutes, discuss what worked about the scene, what worked about the characters, and then
create more.
come and perform that again. And we did that a few times, and then by the end of the lesson, we were like, hang on, these are really fun,
quite
stupid
good characters.
Yeah. So with improv, for the listeners, I don't know who listens to this. Honestly, it's like 10 people.
Please.
They could all be my mum. So for people who don't know, so with improv you have short form, you have long form. Short form being short, quick games, which are like kind of like punchliney, not necessarily narrative driven. It's games where a lot more fast paced and short, surprisingly. With long form, it's a lot more narrative driven, can take over like a space of like an hour, plot points. Which one, guys, would you say is harder? Because I think that's actually, there's a debate
Harder.
in there.
Well, I think long form lets you develop the characters, so it can actually be easier. But getting up in a 2-minute scene and actually being funny is can be quite hard. Because I've done scenes that I've gone up and been like, ooh, okay, let's never talk about that again.
I think with me, I think I similar to Michali, I think long form can be easier in the sense that you can create a lot bigger characters, or you can make more of a storyline, and you can throw back to like, I don't know, past experiences of that character to make it seem longer. But I quite like sometimes the short ones because it's nice when you have like the long form and then you come in as this just one-off character, and you can get it really good with just this one-off character. But definitely,
and a lot of the games that are short form
like
are
Village,
just so much fun.
But Village, I think, is the best.
Example. It's a nice little mid-ground.
So that's mid-form. It's not quite long form.
Exactly.
It's not quite short form.
It's a nice combination of the two.
With Village, it's a game in improv where 5?
Yes,
like 5 or 6?
Yeah,
5.
usually about 5, yeah.
Yeah. So 6 people stand, sit, whatever, in a line, and then they will each have a scene together, right?
Yeah.
Two people scenes
Yeah.
going along the line, and then the final scene is the 2 people at either end of the line. And each scene is always in the same location, but at any time onward from the first point. And from that, you create a sort of long-form piece, but in lots of little short-form pieces.
Yeah.
And you develop these little relationships to these 2 characters every time, and you develop this story. So I have a couple questions here in relation. So you guys have already covered a lot of the stuff. Not all of it, but so I was wondering, with improv, what would you guys say your approach to improv is? So obviously you have the whole like yes and blah blah blah. I don't care about that. Like, what would you say personally is something that when you step up, you know that like these are things that you can do like to help you
honestly
be better, more confident in the scene.
Honestly, with me, I normally go in it and just go, let's go. Like, my mindset is quite... I really don't mind if I look like an idiot. Do you know what I mean? I've always had that sort of approach of, like, let's give it a go. If it's funny, then it's funny. And it normally with me, you've got all the tools of the yes and all the little techniques, but I think if you go in there with not a blank mind, otherwise you'd just be standing there, but like you go in there thinking anything can happen, and it normally you bounce off people, and it goes along, because if you go in there with a fixed mind of what you're going to do, it can normally close yourself off. Whereas if you go in there with an open mind, and I know that sounds really like, go in there with an open mind.
No,
but like, do you know what I mean?
That's the joy of improv, just going in not knowing anything. And I think now I'm definitely a lot more like that. Especially because of the help of Reed and doing improv there. Like, I've realised it's okay to just go up and not know what you're doing until you do it. Because I know for me, when I used to do improv, like before Reed and everything, I would sit waiting. If it was like one of the freeze games, because that was the only ever improv game I ever played, where you go freeze and then you replace someone in the scene. I would be sitting there like, okay, let me think of a character, let me think of a thing. And then when that came to be doing even more improv at Reed, I realised that doesn't work, because you come in with an idea, and if you're not the first to like down. Speak, or something happens, you have to react to that, and it kind of throws you off.
You're left,
you have this idea.
You're left standing there like a lemon.
But in terms of approach, I think I'm very similar to Tom now. I just like, I go up there and I'm like, all right, it sounds very basic, but it is literally just the yes and. It's like you go up there and you're like, yes, and like
and you normally
and I'd say
sorry, you go on.
When the times that because I really enjoy improv personally, and I've had some good moments in improv, but the times I feel like when I do my worst is when I've bigged myself up in my own mind. I'm like, okay, I need to do really good, and I want people to look at me and be like, yeah, he's good at improv, which is just wrong, because if you're thinking in that mindset and you're thinking, oh, I want to look good. And so, bucking on what you were saying, Tom, the whole idea of like going in almost expecting to look bad and being okay with that, going in wanting to look bad, I think is like a really fun way of approaching most scenes. Although it may end you up may end up being in the same type of role if you're always going in with like I'ma just be the runt of every joke. But like,
you can,
And I
like,
think-
you can mix it up, sort of thing. But
Yeah, when you're talking about doing improv to an audience as well, audiences love everything. Like you can go up there and just cork and just be rubbish, but they will love it because
they will love
everyone
that,
in the audience sits there going, "I kind of wish I could do that." Especially if they're
I
not
wish I had the
actors.
confidence
And
to do that.
yeah, and I found that even the stupidest scenes, when you're in front of an audience, no matter how bad they are or how good they are, the audience will love it. And and obviously there's simple tropes you can do, like ones the audience love is a callback, any callback to anything,
something that's happened,
any reference that's happened before.
They think
and
you're
audiences
really
love
clever,
it,
and you're
but-
like, yeah. They're like, oh, I know that.
he remembered the
something.
thing.
Damn.
it's so great when you do that.
Yeah.
But even if you look at like professional, in air quotes, improvisers on shows like Whose Line Is It Anyway, you watch it and some scenes there's always some naff scenes, but it's still hilarious because you're like, these guys are just being stupid on stage and you love them for it.
They're having fun with it.
Having fun. I think it is kind of easier sometimes, sometimes in Village, when they give you like, you're in a park and then you can sort of think there's these types of normal stereotype characters of a park, and then the audience normally quite like that idea when you make fun of that sort of person. Do you know what I mean?
When you play into what the audience is expecting, but then also undercutting that also is
turn
when
on its head.
You can have you can either kind of go down those two roads, either really play into what they're thinking and get their nostalgic juices flowing, or like you switch it and obviously
take them under the feet,
whatever.
sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But what I was gonna ask you guys, what was your favourite improv moment that you've had?
Yes. Okay. Mine comes to mind straight away. It was, so, set the scene. It was actors' improv night at Reed. Stressing the word actors.
Scandal!
MTs are not allowed. So I was just hanging about because I wanted to watch. So I had some stuff I needed to be practicing, so I was just hanging about at Reed.
And you happened to have a white shirt and trousers, and you were like, I can join.
Well, yeah.
Happened to be in full tuxedo.
I'm in a tuxedo.
I've got my...
Coincidentally. Wow, I can join.
What a coincidence!
I think actually,
I was
Tom,
not
it was because
prepared.
you were coming back from an audition and you weren't there yet. So they were like, we need someone just to fill the gap. So I was like, as Seamus got all the actors together and I was just in a corner, still in earshot, and Seamus was just like, should we let him in?
Oh, you! Get over here!
Get over here, no.
Oh, should we let him in?
Get over here, no.
I don't know.
We're all doing a Seamus accent. Come on, come over here, my guy. Come over
to this. I pray he never.
Yeah. Sorry,
That's the
Seamus.
worst impression.
Utmost respect,
the
though.
worst.
Utmost respect.
He sounds nothing like that. But anyway, and then I was allowed in, and it was probably the greatest achievement of my performing career ever. But we were doing Village, and I've done bad villages in my time, and I've done better ones, but I came up on stage, and I don't know what happened, but I just really loved the character, and I don't think I've ever got that many laughs, and I never saw myself ever really as a comedic actor until Reed, and until learning to improv, and so for me, that was partly what helped change my mindset in terms of writing A Touch of Class, because I thought, hang on, I can be funny, in air quotes, and yeah, I was playing like the sheriff of this village, and it talking about things that audiences love. I kind of had this signature line, "The new girl," which which everyone loved, and it was so much fun, and that because just the buzz from the audience and from the actors and everything, it was just such a great.
I had seen
Village.
little snippets of you, like, in performance class and your audition and stuff. That's the first time I'd seen, like, perform. Because we didn't do improv did we do improv together?
I think after that, we did it in, like, the second term.
After that, yeah. But watching that, so the way the stage was set up was, we had 3 different acting troupes that would go up and do their improvs one at a time in these groups. And we had, my troupe was sat on one side, and then Michali's troupe was performing, and another on the other side. And me and Liliella sat on the side watching Michali do this, and like I think it was like the 3rd time you had said it, the new girl. Me and Lily just grabbed each other. I'm like, he said the thing. we went because we were supposed to be pretending to be super professional. We were like pretending to be like really good actors because that was the bit. But then me and Lily, like I think I stood up at one point and was like, Jesus Christ,
he's done it again.
It's so good.
It was so much fun, and that was actually the first time I'd ever performed improv to an audience that wasn't like just our class as well.
I think that was the first time all of us did it.
Yeah, it was. I just loved it. It was so fun, and it made me think. Hang on, I can actually do kind of funny stuff, and you don't actually have to know much because you just make it up on the spot, and it's fun.
It's funny.
But yeah.
Was that our only live show?
It was.
That was.
It was. Yeah, that was the one and only time that
ass.
But it was a killer show. So.
It was a killer show.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It was a killer show.
If to have one, we had the best.
Yeah.
To be fair, that was like one of my. I don't want to. I want to say that was also my favourite one as well because it was such a good. It worked so well, and
was there one specific moment in there that you think?
In that one? Mine was when I was the mayor of Ochtemukti. It was that village called
Ochtenschugel.
Oh no, Ochtenschugel. Because it was my mum.
Because Tom, could you please tell that story about you?
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So let's set the scene. So it's literally the same scene as. So obviously the improv night began, and I was coming back from my Raw Scott audition in London actually, and obviously I entered, and Seamus made a massive thing about it, and he was like, "Oh, look who's turned up!"
Didn't you get a round of applause?
I did, yes, and I was behind the curtain.
You had to describe your day.
I had to describe my day. I had to describe my day in a sonnet form, and obviously I was like. Oh God! I was like, okay. I saw a bird, and da 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 da. What a great! And it was. I remember it being all right, but basically we were given into. I was in your group, Michali, for Village, and we sat down in our village, and Seamus said, "Oh, let's have a name for the village." And my mum was in the audience. Now, a thing about my mum, she's Scottish. Just put it out there, she's Scottish, and there's a town in Scotland called Ochtenschugel, and we had people shouting out, "Ha Surreyville, ha Wiltshire Forest," and then from the background you hear Ochtenschugel, and Seamus goes, "Excuse me, what? Ochtenschugel? Is that a real place?" Aye, it's a real place. And then there's me sitting there like, oh God, that's my mum. That's my mum saying that. So we went with...
But then the crazier thing is that no one else knew it was your mum. Or at least I didn't. I had no clue that was your mum. So I just saw this crazy lady just going, Ochtenschugel!
And me going, oh no. And everyone going, like, why are you so embarrassed? It's just some crazy lady. Come on. And it was like, that's my mum. And then I remember in improv, I was the mayor and had the Scottish accent. And my favourite part of that was because me and Henry, you know Henry from other average podcasts, and Eggs and Fish, which is a very good podcast as well. Eggs and Fish.
Oh, I love Eggs and Fish.
Big up Henry. And big up Eggs and Fish. But me and Henry, I think Henry was he was the policeman or something, and me and the mayor, we were having meetings, and our location was a phone box.
Yes.
And we had 3 rounds, and it worked out that we had this phone box, and so he got in the phone box, and then we made the phone box, and I opened the door, and for the first 2 rounds I went in, and he was behind me, wasn't he? So we were pressed up against this phone box, and he was behind me.
Yeah.
And as it went on, unbeknownst, it just happened. We had obviously a love and a lust for each other. The characters had a lust for each other in the end, and they were getting very frisky, but very frisky. But my favourite bit was that everyone was expecting it, and we built it up, and me and Henry sort of played off it, and we built it up, and we were like, okay, on the last round, he got in, and instead of getting in with my back to him, I got in facing him. And I remember
it was
the
a
reaction.
beautiful moment.
Everyone went, yeah! And that was my favourite.
So
that was one of my favourite moments. Was that sort of release of
It's like that. It's like the whole. Well, it's not really a Chekhov's gun, but similar to that thing of it's something that you know something has to happen.
Them.
You know that the tension's rising, and it's something to
Every
happen.
time I got into that phone box, the tension rise.
Yeah, with the wonderful village of Ochtenschugel, it had a population of 1 less person than were actually. It was had a population of 4, and there were 5 of us, or something like that. So that's why the other person was the new girl. And usually when you do a
God
village...
knows I'm about to put some dramatic music behind the news.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it was the best.
Usually when you do the village, the audience go a population of like 147 or 2,000. And it's like, you don't expect the population to play a poignant part. But it was just like,
brilliant. It worked
amazing.
so well. It was, what a great live show. Oh, it's a shame. Shame we didn't get to do more, but
Yeah,
we will bounce back.
We've been shafted this year.
We have indeed.
In terms of, so you guys are both very creative people, and during this pandemic, you guys have put out some excellent content as time has gone on. And so I was wondering, as I asked you your approach to improv earlier, what's your approach when it comes to devising, writing, and creating?
So I think. Is this with the Touch of class or everything in general?
Anything. All devising.
I think it depends whether you're working with somebody or on your own, because you can. I think with the Touch of class mostly, because I think we were, I don't know, some point during lockdown. It's all big one blurb now, but it was halfway through it, and it was like, oh, I really liked Jeremy and Roger, and we'd been talking about it. Me and Michali, like. Bits and bits, and then at lockdown we had nothing to do, and we were like, should we try and make something with them? And then and it was sort of like, okay, and so I wrote like a version 1 of the script, and then I sent it to Michali. Then Michali wrote some more bits and sent it back, and boom, 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 boom. And we kept sending these scripts back and back, and then talking about it and just creating all these different scenarios. And it was actually quite a good process mentally for me, because it was like creating, like, we were like, oh, we should have a shop. Oh, they should try and run an antique shop. And it was, I think the two of us, even though we weren't together in the same room, we were still bouncing off each other on the screen.
Yeah, and after we...
Like, you could see us jumping, like, yes.
As
full Seamus mode.
Yeah.
You just get up on your windowsill.
And your headphones, like, get you, and you, like, fall down, and you're like, oh, no.
Your mouth is wide open, teeth bared.
Yes. Just smashing the table. That's the idea. And I think
it was just loads of back and forth, and then once we had a script that we were kind of happy with, we would Zoom each other and read through it, playing all the characters and rewriting and reworking it as we were there.
As it goes,
Yeah. Also, for me, I think when it ties into writing for Touch of Class and any other writing I've been doing, especially because of Reed, for me, improv is still the foundation. Like, I will sit there
definitely.
and I don't ever plan. I've never planned with writing as much as my teachers in like year 9 and 10 and 6 and whatever
to make
saying,
you
plan your
like,
creative writing.
Every
I'm
chapter.
I am not using the burger paragraphs.
No. I will never plan.
Sorry, what was that,
The
Tom?
burger paragraphs. Do you not remember
I
that?
want to hear. I want to know what a burger paragraph
I bet you there's
is.
people listening to this podcast who are going, yeah, burger paragraph. People at Gately School will be like, yeah, the burger paragraph. It's when you have a bun at the top, which is the introduction for your story. Then you have the lettuce, the meat, and the like condiments, which are the paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and then you have the bottom bun, which is the conclusion. Burger paragraph.
See, my school was a lot less creative. We just said beginning, middle, end.
Yeah. Do you not remember the burger paragraph? Oh, gosh, the burger.
No, and I just love how you just slid it in there. Just like, the burger paragraph.
Just a burger paragraph. Yeah.
But yeah,
so,
I really agree with what you guys are saying. It's something that because obviously we both, me and Tom, unfortunately Michali hasn't been able to experience the joys of platform.
Yeah.
But, platform was an excellent experience. I experienced it year 1 when I was, much lesser than I am now. I feel like I progressed a lot then. If I could have done platform this year, man, would have smashed it. 5 stars. Boom. Imagine the scenes. But I really believe in a sense of collaboration. I think is at the core of anything good that's devised. I think coming in with like we were saying with improv earlier, coming in with a fixed mindset of what I've written is set in stone and can never be changed is a mindset I think it's quite polarizing to say, but I guess like quite harmful to a collaborative process. Yeah. So you can be put in a group with people and you have one person that's that stone that will not be moved. You go and have a much harder time than if everyone is just really fluid. Really bouncing ideas off each other, like you guys were saying.
Yes, and with the Touch of Class, Tom and I have been. That's something that's really important to us, you'll know obviously, Alfie, because Alfie plays two characters.
Well, he plays the youth and Sammy.
On a Touch of Class.
I'd say the best two characters.
Indeed. But always, whenever we've done any of our recordings, we've said to all of the actors we've written a script and we have a plot, and the plot is there because that's what we've created. And we've written the script, but if you've got ideas of how you want to make that character more believable, or a line that you want to put in, you want to ad-lib, you want to just improvise off the back of a scene, just do it. And if it's crap, guess what? We can just delete it and record it again. And I really think that's so important with especially with our kind of comedy, and because to us improv is really, really central to the whole thing. Allowing our actors to just be themselves and just create on the spot off of the text that we've written is so important.
For sure, because I think with A Touch of Class, we originally set out thinking, this would be great on a stage, sort of like actually there, and I think improv you can physically. Is easier to improv physically, and you can trip up and in our heads we had a sort of, because the both of us really like Fawlty Towers and the sort of the old sitcom style type things, and the physical comedy as well as the witty comedy, and so I think we were always thinking, yes, we're gonna create a play or a scene or something, but it wouldn't be I'll write the script and then give it to the actors, and then I'll be the director, and this is what's going to happen. It would be, I've written a script here. What do you guys think? Okay, let's do something, and then it would be like that.
Because I think with that, something that I've discovered as I went on, I came in to read and stuff expecting. So I'd done a bunch of musicals in school and out of school. Because that's the only thing that's available for actors. There's no
That's what I did. I was like,
musical theatre. I'm gonna be in Hairspray.
I want to be Grease. I want to be Daddy
Stucco. Sorry to malign.
I am doing a musical theatre course. 3 years.
Exactly. There's no genuine hate, but so I came out of that saying, okay, now fuck this. I want to be an actor. Give me some Stanislavski. Give me some drama.
Good stuff.
But as time has gone on, to read, I've discovered I'm less so. Oh God, are you guys ready for a mega wank?
I am so.
You guys ready for some big boy wankiness? I'm not an actor. I'm a creator, a performer, a creator.
That is what we like.
I think. I was thinking with what you were saying, Tom, about the whole sit down, director tells the actor what to do. Obviously, I'm not in the industry. I'm not here trying to claim that I'm an industry professional. But I think that way is dumb and is dying, hopefully. I would like to see, once I get in the industry, I would love to see much more collaborative. Honestly, I don't know. Hopefully it is like that. I'm praying it's like that. And what I will be doing is finding stuff like that. Because I don't want to be working in a situation that's not like that. But I think... as I was saying just before, just collaboration.
It's just so much fun as well. And I think with the Touch of Class, some of the funniest things have come from improv. Whether that's been improv between me and Tom reading through the script, or actually live during the recording, or one of my all-time favourite lines, actually, Alfie, you have it, is when we ask, at the end of episode 5, and we ask Sammy, Alfie's character, to just explain his life. And I said, look, Alfie, just improvise your life story. And honestly, I had to delete laughter from my recording because
I was lucky I was on mute. I was like, what? I was like, oh no. It was the best.
Can you recreate
just
the beginning line for our audiences who haven't listened?
Who are you, Sammy?
Sammy, tell us everything.
Oh, no, I can't, guys. I can't remember. I just know the gist of it. I just know that my mother was a whore.
Yeah. What? You're 7 different mothers.
I have 7 mothers.
I was born in a whorehouse from 7 different women.
And there was this one called Crystal who I consider my real mother, or something like that. And it was like, what?
And so funny.
It was very good. It was super fun. And that's really beautiful about how you can you as the creator can give something to an actor, and then they and you've written the characters' lines, but their voice and their ideas and imagination brings them to life almost, and brings them a backstory, brings them more, makes them human almost.
Obviously, obviously there has to always be a level of respect for the writer.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
I don't want to be putting out there that I don't respect writers and directors.
No, yeah.
But I'm saying there always has to be that level of respect. But I think the role of the actor, it's theirs. Now.
Yeah, and I think especially
every character will be different, even if it's the same. Do you know what I mean?
Especially with new theatre, because if you say you're going on stage to perform, let's say Shakespeare's Twelfth Night or Les Miserables or something, and you go up there and you just start improvising, everyone's gonna be like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Yeah, exactly.
But especially when it's you're working to devise stuff or it's new work, and I often find when I read through new plays, you can hear the actors in the lines, and you know that the actor sat down with the director.
Written for them almost.
And I always find, I found with one monologue that I was considering for using for auditions this year, I actually found it really difficult to do because as much as I loved the monologue, I really felt that it was written for another actor. And obviously with auditions, they want you to do it word for word because that's the point of it. Yeah. But I felt, if I was doing that play and I could sit down with the writer and director and be like, look, that voice pattern and the pattern of his speech doesn't really fit with me. And I think being able to create characters along with the actors who are going to play the characters, like as a writer, you're not playing all the characters. Like me and Tom have written these characters, but we don't play them.
How many characters have we got? We've got loads.
In fact, we play less characters than most of the actors.
We only play one
characters.
Everyone else plays loads.
It's just you have to, you're giving a character to an actor to perform, and if they're not giving a little bit of their own interpretation, it becomes really dry, and you feel like they're just reproducing something, regurgitating text, like that kind of year 6 school play where actor stands up and says line and stops acting. I think it's important. Yeah.
I can understand that sort of way of doing it because as the writer or as it I don't mean as a creator, but I've written obviously I've written a Touch class and stuff like that, but I also when I was coming back from when I was actually going to Royal Scot, I remember I was sitting in the train and I was looking at a coffee shop and I was thinking, how boring that job must be. Well, imagine. And then this whole story in my head came together, and then I wrote a monologue for myself, and you can tell, which is a train and coffee monologue by Thomas John Harris,
which you can go check out on Thomas's YouTube channel. And Thomas Harris.
Thomas John Harris. Go check it out. And it's a whole I remember writing it, and it's very much for me in the sense that even though it's a different character, obviously, because that character isn't me. He's not that. I'm not that bad as that character. I'm not that disgusting. But the pattern of speech that he has, it is my sort of speech, and I think that was a very good monologue for me because obviously not because I wrote it, but yes, because I wrote it, but also because it captured my imagination and I was able to speak it.
You're
naturally.
building on a foundation that is you, and then you're expressing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And can I ask a question actually to both of you?
Yeah.
When it comes to you writing your own stuff, because I know obviously all of us, we love to write. Do you find that the stuff you've written that's just come to your head and it's taken 10 minutes to write the basics of it and then you've refined later,
they're the best, is
better than you go, I've got this idea and you spend weeks trying to plan it? Because for me, stuff I've tried to plan does not exist. For me, as well as a Touch of Class, my proudest piece of writing is my devised piece that I used to get into Royal Scot, which was a song.
You should really go check it out. So the fundamentals on Instagram. One of the first. It's the first post.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and it's also on the YouTube page, and it's also on I think my Instagram and my YouTube page. So it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Seriously, go check it out. It's really insane.
Yeah. So to give the premise of that, it's a song sung by a character who is a young Jewish man during the Holocaust. Joyful, I know. But as someone with a Jewish heritage, it's something that's always been really important to me, and it's been my goal for a long time to write a musical set during the Holocaust. Not a big, high-leg, kicky musical, like a gritty, dirty, horrifying show that just uses music to tell a story. And
tasty.
I was reading through the audition material for my Royal Scot audition a week before, and it said, please bring a piece you've devised that incorporates acting, singing, and movement or dance. And I went, crap.
A week before? You did that in a week?
Yeah. And
you did that in a week?
I did it in a week, and I came home, I was like, Mum, hi, I had a great day, and I just nipped down to my cabin where I do all my writing stuff, and I just put on music, because I didn't have time to write any music for it. I just put on different pieces of music, and I just literally improvised a song while recording it, and I did that a few times, and it was literally within 45 minutes that I came up with the basis that I could then refine, and for me, that is my favourite piece of writing.
Yeah, holy shit, you make a really good point.
Take it away. I want to know.
Yeah,
what you
I did a similar thing with my I realized because so this is currently the podcast. This is my creative thing. I haven't really put out much stuff besides this, and I still haven't done that much of this throughout the quarantine. I've had a hard time. I've realized through quarantine that I'm a massive perfectionist in what I put out there, and I find it super hard to put out stuff out there if it isn't exactly how I want to see it. But as on what you were saying, I too, before my East 15 audition, where I'm going also, before I went, I realised, oh God, I applied for the acting contemporary theatre course. I need a devised monologue, and that was the night before.
Yeah.
So the night before in my bath,
that's a good monologue that you did.
I love that monologue.
Yeah.
So I used a premise from an improv lesson again, where I had been so we had all been given props, and we had to improvise like a minute-long monologue based off these props. And I had been given a pokey blind man stick.
Oh, I had that in that lesson.
Yeah, and everyone expected me to be blind, and I was like, I know they expect me to be blind. But then I said that I ran over a blind person. And then that was just my whole monologue was about killing this blind person accidentally on a bus. And then so from there, and that's like spanned a million ideas. But like I said, with that monologue, I wrote it, really happy with it. Spanned all these ideas that I'm now thinking about. And it's nothing's there. I'm not creating this thing because I'm thinking about it too much.
Yeah, I think with like also with my monologue, I'm like the one that I was talking about, the train and coffee monologue. I wrote it. I wrote it on the train in half an hour, thinking, and so all the lines have stayed the same, and it's like the premise of. I'm just explaining mine now because you've explained yours. I'm like, all I did was say he's a disgusting man, and people are thinking, how disgusting is he?
Disgusting man. Coffee.
Yeah, but basically, so he owns a coffee shop, and he gets really bored, and he's talking to a police officer saying what happened on his day at platform 10, and there's basically been a terrorist attack. But he's really happy because all the other coffee shops like Costa and Starbucks and that have blown up. Which means that his coffee shop...
It's so bad, but it's so funny.
but his coffee shop has survived, so he's really happy that his shop has survived. So if you could go check it out. But I think with mine, I wrote it, and all the lines have stayed the same, but it took me about 3 months to record it and release it because I recorded it once, and then I looked at it, and I thought, the lines are very good, and everything's really good, but what is that acting? What is that? Like, what are you doing, Thomas? And it does, like, even though the idea, like, as you were saying, like, like, the things that you don't plan are really good, but then that's when the actor side comes into it, and you can't just do it because then it's like it looks half-assed and all that. So and I think all actors have a slight perfectionist in them because they're like, I can see something for it, but I don't know what yet, and you have to try loads of different types,
or at least I think you should. I don't think all actors do, and I think that shows if you're not.
And it does take. And it does like take time, but that you get to it in the end, and you've just got to be patient, but like and you just need support really from other people. And is this good? And they go or no.
For me as well, it's just when I've got an idea. If I actually just do it right then when I've got the idea, I have something like that I've created, and I'm like, this is actually something that exists, rather than my 50 notebooks full of ideas that will never happen. Like the other day, I was working my shift down at my local curry house where I work, or used to work. I had my last shift the other day.
The last day.
But this was a few weeks ago. It was quite a quiet shift, and as I always do, I'm either singing to myself or just making things up in my head. And I started. This is when I sound so stupid, and I love it. I started making up a rap that was parodying like the mumble rap community, and I basically wrote lyrics that sound really innuendoous but are actually quite wholesome. And I ended up writing an entire rap.
The whitest, most middle class.
Very.
That's so true.
Very much.
I wrote
just
this rap,
for context there.
Yep, we are. So I wrote this rap, and again, I wrote like a full rap in like half an hour, and then I started refining it a little bit. And actually, the other day, I recorded it, so I've got the full rap and everything, and it's so stupid. I love it to bits. But and I'm gonna record a music video, but I can't do that until Christmas time when I'm back home. But so like for me, it's just always if I've got an idea and I don't act on it right away, it literally never comes to pass. And
it fizzles out. You get two in your head, like, and as you were saying, Tom, it does take patience.
It does,
And that's the thing I don't have. I'm an impatient perfectionist, so I want it to be good.
Now.
And I want it to be good now. And I think, like, again, we got some good cyclical. It's all linking together. I think that's where the collaboration comes in.
Definitely.
If you've got someone to collaborate with,
Then
that's
you
when
can
shit gets done. And that's why the podcast did. I got with Henry. I was like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're just gonna do it, no matter what. We're just gonna put it out there, no matter what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And you have someone to hold you accountable for it as well.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I can't go up and go, Tom, if I'm like, do we have to like record it today?
Yeah,
or something?
exactly.
And then or like if I don't have any ideas, then Tom's got ideas, or if Tom doesn't have any ideas, I've got ideas.
You have ideas,
and
yeah.
The
So
fact that there's more than one person,
more than one
it
helps.
almost guarantees something's going to happen.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, you mentioned briefly earlier, but what would you say is your favourite moment from A Touch of Class?
Ooh.
My favourite moment is probably the entirety of episode 6. Which
very good.
is yet to come out, because I don't have all the recording bits.
Wow,
That's
such a cliffhanger.
That's so cheeky.
Such a cliffhanger.
That's so
So,
cheeky.
I'm just, not to
You guys
plug
gotta tune
the
in.
episodes.
My favourite
in,
bit is
stay
something
tuned,
you
it might
haven't
be a few
listened to
weeks.
yet, so you better listen to it soon.
But other than that, I think my favourite
Perks
bit
of
is
being the
anything
creator.
with the youths. So those who don't know, the youths are 3 characters, one of
very
which is
end.
played by Alfie. And throughout all of the episodes, they appear and just talk a load of nonsense. And again, all of it is improvised, apart from the odd interactions with other characters that are written. When they're talking together, I just go, all right, Alfie, Taylor,
for it.
Henry, improvise. Whatever the crap you want.
So
and
much
it's
fun.
always ridiculously funny, some of which is too funny to even include because it gets quite out there.
I'm always corpsing.
Yeah. But-
So much of my audio is me laughing.
But to be fair, like, your youth, that's what, like your character would do. It's
just
just
a
laugh
giggly
and,
boy.
But, oh, man,
just
they
so
are
funny.
funny. I think my favourite part of all of A Touch of Class for me is actually Donna's character. I think, because we wrote Donna as because we wanted to do that idea of like you've got 2 posh idiots and then you've got the down to earth like working class person who's the voice of reason and stuff, and like she actually kind of knows how to run the shop because it's in the roughest part of London and she knows it. And I feel like her story arc, we didn't set out to have her story arc like that, how it went.
Yeah.
And my favourite part about it is her interactions with the brothers at the start is all like, you idiots, stop being idiots. And then near the end, she's like, oh no, I actually kind of care for them. They're quite, that it's not their fault that they were born into that and that their dad left them and they're inept to this whole world. And I think some of her comments to the brothers, either that her saying you're an idiot or her going or her breaking their stick because he getting all, because what is it like Roger just throws a stick at a rat and breaks it, and obviously it was Jeremy's cane, so he gets all like, what are you doing? So he tapes it up, and then Roger's like, oh no, I'll just go alone because I've got a perfect cane. And then Donna breaks his cane and then tapes it up so that they look the same. And then they're both like, oh, at least this will make us fit in now. So that sort of idiocracy / that kind of reasonable real world stuff, I quite like that. That's my favourite.
And especially towards the end of the later episodes, it starts to have more like emotional parts that aren't just stupid and funny, which I don't even know if we were technically planning going in, but we realised this is the natural progression of this character, and you start to like really notice these real friendships of the characters and that they actually do really love each other, and that's also, I think, one of my favourite parts is the later episodes.
And it's brilliant that we didn't plan that, I think, and it just happened, I think, because otherwise if you do plan it, then everyone's like, like stop saying those lines. Like
it was natural.
It was natural sort of thing.
Natural, and there's a lot of good through lines throughout it, and I think because it's the first season, it's 6 episodes, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I think that as a whole has had an excellent through line throughout and has had a really good progression, and each episode has been better than the next. I think you guys you can see your guys is like you're progressing story wise, but also via what you're putting out there with the sound editing, with the size of the episodes and the way that like you're being much more ambitious, more characters, more. And so my question to you now: what is next for A Touch of Class?
Well,
listen to the use at episode 6.
So, as you said, episode 6 is coming as soon as possible. We're all in the stages of currently moving off to drama school, so it's going to take a little bit longer to be edited and
or moving
get
to
out
the
there.
north or the south or everywhere. Just
So it's
move
a little
out.
bit everywhere at the moment. But as Tom said, originally we had this idea of A Touch of Class being a live show. And we've talked a lot about it, and over lockdown we were like, okay, we want to do something that's almost the first draft of this show. And then we had the idea of a radio play, because we can do that, we can record that from home, people can listen from home, we can socially distance because we don't have to be anywhere near each other. And all of that. So it was the right thing to do right now, and it allowed us a platform to get real life audience feedback on a first draft, because usually what your first draft is just between maybe the producers and the writers and a director or something like that, and it's until it gets to like a workshop stage later on when you get an audience in, you don't really get the chance to have a published first draft. So I think we're the first to admit that, like you said, our first episodes aren't as good as our later episodes, because we were still learning and creating these characters. So we've got a plan for hopefully next summer, or the summer after, as soon as we can get this done. A live show, which was originally our idea. A live show, but not just a play, because
not just any live show.
But because, I mean, you're probably tired of us talking about how much we love improvising and improv and all of that. So for us, the live show had to incorporate that. So coming soon to a Reed College near you in Reading, only one Reed College.
Near Palmer Park, parking free.
Yes, as soon as we can plan that all. We have a show that will be a live comedy, improvised, immersive night, which is a lot of work.
Extravaganza!
So the basic premise of it now, we haven't fully started writing, is it's set in an antique show. So it's an antique show where things will be for sale.
You know that,
probably can't
that
afford
classic
real
place
props.
we all spend our Sundays on. That sort of
we all
look at pots and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, bid done that."
And it would be some scenes, some improvising, some audience interaction, just a load of silliness and laughs, and that's next. But Tom, do you want to talk about our long-term goal that we get really excited about? And just an idea that we really, really want to happen at some point.
I just said, you're both putting this out into the universe, onto the podcast, so you guys have to
keep to this.
Oh, yeah. So
the podcast is holding you accountable.
Yes, the live show is happening. But yeah, Tom, just explain our long-term dream that we would love to see.
Oh gosh, our long-time dream goal would to hopefully one day, possibly, maybe make a sitcom. Hopefully, so an actual
it'd be so good
on the BBC, because me and Michali, I've already said this, and we love Faulty Towers and stuff. Faulty Towers, with John Cleese, if you know it, and stuff like Time Gentlemen Please, those sort of kind of old British funny comedies that of the 70s and 80s and all that sort of thing, and we want that sort of we feel like these two characters, but also all the characters can slot into that kind of way of filming, and the sort of how the camera follows them, and then they do something funny, then they knock something over, and it's like, and the set that they use, it looks all right. It doesn't look professional, but it doesn't look, do you know what I mean? So like they were like paper boards and stuff like that for a wall, and then they get thrown through. So stuff like that, which we hopefully, and obviously we don't know when this would happen, because we're going to off to drama school, because Michali, you're off to Royal Scots, very well done, and Alfie, you're off to Is 15, and I'm off to Alra North, and so we're all going everywhere. Woo! Claps. We're all off to everywhere, and we don't know when this could happen, and how our lives are going to unfold, and if we're going to, and who we're going to meet. Hopefully we're going to meet like a cameraman and be like, yo, you want to help us out in 10 years time? Sort of thing like that. But that's
just to put this out there,
I think
if you're listening and you are a producer or want to become a producer and you love old British sitcoms, hit us up.
Give us your money.
Give us a shout out. Talk to us, please. Yeah. That'd be our long-term goal. One thing that we'd love to give a shot, give a go to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a testament to your guys' writing and the way you've produced it, the sound quality and stuff, is that I, as someone who wasn't involved in the creative process, can see it. I can see it on a screen. I can see these characters interacting and so on. Yes. So it's been a pleasure working with you guys on the radio play. It's been a pleasure recording this podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you work with us, and also.
And I will now give you guys 30 seconds to shout out whatever you want. Go.
I love you.
So,
Gruffalo.
Open up. Open up Spotify and search A Touch of Class Radio Play, and that's on Spotify. We've got all our episodes that are up. We're also on YouTube as well, so you can search A Touch of Class.
YouTube.
Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want. We're on there.
And you can also see some extra little bits, maybe a little filmed little interaction between the two brothers,
made,
like a cup of
short film,
a touch of tea. You could even see a little sketch. You can see more bonuses on YouTube and Spotify.
We've got loads of stuff.
We didn't get to mention it much, but we're part of the fundamentals, so make sure to check that out on Instagram and YouTube. More stuff coming in the future. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
And
make
keep
sure to check
listening
out
to
both
Alfie's
their
podcast.
private.
Yes, I was about to say. Keep
Yeah!
listening to Alfie's podcast because they are.
I love the Average
brilliant.
Podcast.
They're brilliant. Eggs and Fish and the Average Podcast, and just.
I don't think I've laughed so much listening to a podcast as I did to Eggs and Fish. It's so good.
It was very funny. Just you need to, and everyone else, watch out for these boys. These boys are going to do some good stuff in the future.
Woo! Likewise, look out.
And
for
same
Tom.
goes for you.
Oh,
two.
thank you.
Same goes for you too. You guys have been great. Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to obviously do everything they said. And my little promo here, make sure to check out the Instagram. Make sure to check out the Twitter, AveragePodC1. Go on the YouTube channel, The Average Podcast. Check out the animations.
They are very good animations. They are very good.
Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube, check us out on Spotify, do all that jazz. It's been lovely having you guys on.
Yes.
And I'll see you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Stop.